On a quiet morning in Brisbane's Camp Hill last February, 31-year-old Hannah Clarke and her 3 children, Aaliyah 6, Leanna 4 and Trey 3, were on the school run when they were doused in petrol and set alight by her estranged husband, Rowan Baxter. The family had just driven out of the driveway when they were ambushed.
They came in, Sue told me, and whole world just collapsed.
Despite having burns to most of her body, Miss Clarke calmly and clearly told first responders what happened as evidence before she was rushed to hospital and died that afternoon.
Proud, not surprised. She was always very strong.
Yeah.
And she would have wanted to make sure he paid. Really made sure he paid.
The murders shocked the nation and sparked calls for domestic violence reform.
There was no excuse. There could never be an excuse. No buts. The blame lived and dies with him.
12 months on, the Clarkes are still processing their grief.
Still difficult. I think it's getting harder now, knowing that they're not coming home. We're not going to see them again.
Through their charity, the Small Steps for Hannah Foundation, they've made it their mission to see controlling behaviour, like what their daughter was subjected to for years, made a crime.
He knew where Hannah was. He would turn up at places quite unexpectedly. She would notice her handbag had been rifled through and things like that. And then he would also control what the children did. And then he would force sex on Hannah every night. And if she didn't comply, he would sulk for days and not speak to her.
That's the worst thing, it's not physical. There's no marks, so it's very hard to pick.
Carolyn Robinson runs charity Beyond DV and wants robust laws put in place to protect families.
We want laws that have teeth, because with coercive control, what we do see happening here with the women we support is that 2, 3, 4 years after they've left their abusive relationship, coercive control is still alive and well in their relationships with their ex-partners, and that very often involves the children.
Coercive control is a pattern of intimidation, isolation, cyber stalking, emotional, mental and financial abuse that those in the domestic violence sector are all too familiar with.
They can also control what you wear. Hannah was never allowed to wear pink or shorts, which was quite difficult when she did CrossFit.
The state government says it will make it a crime within this term. The Attorney-General, Shannon Fentiman, says initial consultation will start soon.
We'll be working with police, our prosecutors, our domestic and family violence services and legal experts to make sure this works.
Training and rolling out a public education campaign will also be part of the changes. The police service supports coercive control becoming an offence and is already training officers in how to identify it and gather evidence.
It's not just behaviours, it's texts, it's telephone calls, it's emails, it might be financial records. So it's identifying early what needs to be collected and collecting that efficiently as we can and making sure that is presented to court.
The United Kingdom is leading the way in criminalising non-physical forms of domestic violence. England and Wales were the first in the world to legislate against coercive control in 2015. Scotland followed in 2018, and it's likely Queensland's laws will be modelled off those. Some criminology and family violence experts have raised concerns. The offending may be hard to prove in court and could be used by perpetrators to frame victims.
This is why so many women end up with protection orders against them, because no matter who's called the police first, the man is able to represent himself as a victim.
As Lloyd and Sue Clarke still grapple with their immeasurable loss, For the future, they plan to keep raising awareness about coercive control in the hopes it will change the ending for other families. Rachel Rieger, ABC News, Brisbane.